It's like old times. You hear me coming through your speakers.
And welcome back to Sports Your Way with me, Dale Ray. Let's get right to it. I'm going to break down the previous Strikeforce tournament where we saw two of the heavyweight tournament fights, and I was 50-50 on that. Fedor Emelianenko lost to Antonio Bigfoot Silva. A little surprised there because he got destroyed by Silva in this one. And Sergey Kharitonov KO'd Arlovsky. I kind of called that one. Arlovsky has a soft chin. I think his career is basically over, and rumor has it maybe Fedor's career is possibly over as well. And speaking of mixed martial arts, that was last week. This week we got UFC 127 featuring John Fitch against BJ Penn. Fitch is 14-1 in the UFC. His only career loss is to that of Georges St-Pierre, arguably one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. But that's a different story. BJ Penn is the prodigy. He's a great UFC competitor, but he's coming in off of 2 losses to Frankie Edgar. He switched weight classes, but he did just beat Matt Hughes. And we'll kind of see where this one goes. It's like if Fitch wins, he's possibly the #1 contender. If BJ Penn wins, depends on how he wins, he could possibly get another shot at Georges St-Pierre. Also on the card, my producer's going to like this one. UK's Michael the Count Bisping faces George Rivera. Bisping's 10-3 in the UFC. His losses include Rashard Evans, Vanderlei Silva, and Hendo Dan Henderson. 3 big names, and that's where the problem comes with Michael Bisping. He has 10 wins, yes, it's nice, but the 3 losses are his big 3 fights. Rivera's 7-5 in the UFC, but he's won 3 in a row, so this could be interesting. But again, he's not a big name. I think Bisping's going to win this because he doesn't lose the not big fights. Also on the card is George Sotiropoulos against Dennis Siver. Sotiropoulos is unbeaten in the UFC, and he's won 5 of his fights by either a submission or a KO. Siver is 6-4 and has won 5 of his last 6. Be kind of interesting on this one. I got Sotiropoulos by submission, and Siver's entering this coming off of his only losses to that of Ross Pearson. Ross Pearson is also on this card fighting Spencer Fisher. I'm going to take Pearson in this one. And lastly, we got Chris Lytle taking on UFC newcomer Brian Ebersol. Ebersol is a MMA vet, though. He's got over 60 career fights. Lytle is a entertaining UFC guy. He's 9-9. That doesn't look so hot, but he's won 4 in a row. He's trying to get his way to a title shot, and if he gets this win, it could possibly happen. He's still got to work his way up the chain, obviously, because this guy's only making his debut. But Lytle's a great, entertaining fighter. All right, we're gonna go to break. After the break, I'm gonna talk a little NASCAR and a little NHRA. We just had the Daytona 500, and NHRA is getting ready to kick off its first event right after this. Stay with us.